Ladies and gentlemen, life will test you, life will push you, and sometimes life will break you. That's not a maybe, that's a guarantee. There will be moments when you feel like you're not enough, when you feel like your flaws, your mistakes, your shortcomings define you. But let me tell you something, what you think is your weakness today can become the very reason you succeed tomorrow. I'm not standing here talking about perfection. Perfection is a lie. I'm talking about transformation. Taking what was meant to hold you down and using it as the foundation to build you up. Think about this: diamonds. Everybody loves diamonds. They shine, they sparkle, they're priceless. But do you know how a diamond is made? Pressure, heat, darkness. It doesn't come from an easy place. It comes from struggle, and so do you. Your weakness, it's not the end of you, it's the start of your greatest strength. Maybe you're shy, people say you can't lead, but that humility, that quiet strength, it can make you a leader who listens, who cares, who inspires others without shouting. That's power. Maybe you failed again and again. People laughed. They said you'd never make it. But every failure was a lesson. Every stumble taught you balance. And now, when you rise higher than they ever imagined. You see, strength isn't born in comfort. Strength is forged in the fire. And when you feel like you're weak, that's when the fire is burning. That's when you're being shaped. So stop running from your weaknesses. Face them, own them, work on them. Turn them into weapons, because one day the very thing you thought would break you, that thing is going to be the reason you win. And when that day comes, when they ask you how you did it, you look them in the eye and say, "What tried to bury me grew me." Life is not a smooth ride, it is a journey filled with obstacles, turns, and unexpected storms that no one can fully prepare for. Challenges are not optional, they are woven into the fabric of existence. From the moment you decide to dream big, life starts testing your resolve. It will throw failures at you to see if you can rise. It will put you in uncomfortable situations to see if you can adapt. Every great individual you have ever admired has faced moments where they questioned themselves, moments when the weight of the struggle felt heavier than their strength. These challenges are not designed to destroy you, they are designed to shape you. They are the fires that burn away weakness and reveal what you are truly made of. When life tests you, it doesn't send an invitation. It shows up unannounced, knocking the wind out of you, leaving you with two choices: stay down or rise stronger. The truth is, without these tests, you can never discover the depth of your potential. A smooth sea never made a skilled sailor, and an easy life never made a powerful person. It's the rough waters, the high winds, the sleepless nights that create resilience. Every obstacle carries a hidden lesson, but the problem is most people only see the pain, not the purpose. They focus on what went wrong instead of what they can learn. When you understand that challenges are inevitable, you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in perspective turns pain into power. Life's tests are not there to punish you. They are there to prepare you for the greatness that's waiting on the other side. Without resistance, there is no growth. A seed cannot bloom without breaking through the soil, and you cannot rise without pushing through struggle. Every test you face is an opportunity to build muscle in your mind and heart. The bigger the dream, the harder the test, and that's a sign you are on the right path. When you feel like quitting, remember that pressure creates diamonds and heat purifies gold. The same principle applies to you. Every challenge you conquer adds strength to your character, clarity to your vision, and fuel to your purpose. Those who never face difficulties never develop depth, but those who endure the storm come out stronger, wiser, and unshakable. Challenges are the universe's way of asking you, how bad do you want it? And if you answer with perseverance, life rewards you with breakthroughs beyond your imagination. What many people fail to see is that the very things they call weaknesses often hold the seeds of their greatest strengths. Society conditions us to believe that weaknesses are flaws that must be hidden or erased. But the truth is they are raw material waiting to be shaped into something powerful. Every human being carries imperfections, vulnerabilities, and limitations, and while some view these as barriers, others see them as opportunities. The difference lies in perspective and effort. A weakness is simply an undeveloped strength, a skill or trait that has yet to be refined through practice, patience, and persistence. For instance, someone who struggles with communication might feel inferior in social or professional situations, but that same person, driven by a desire to improve, could become a compelling speaker, someone who connects deeply with others because they know what it feels like to struggle. It is the struggle that creates empathy, and empathy builds trust, something many natural speakers lack. History is filled with examples of people who turned their weaknesses into weapons. Thomas Edison failed countless times before creating the light bulb. His weakness was persistence being tested over and over, but his determination to learn from failure turned him into an icon of innovation. Albert Einstein was once labeled slow and incapable of learning in school, yet his unconventional thinking became his strength, allowing him to redefine physics. These stories remind us that weakness is not final, it is a starting point. What determines the outcome is how you respond. Do you let that weakness become a label that limits you, or do you use it as motivation to grow? The process of turning weakness into strength begins with acceptance. You cannot transform what you refuse to acknowledge. Many people live in denial, pretending their flaws don't exist, and that prevents growth. But when you face your weakness with honesty and courage, you take back control. After acknowledgement comes adaptation. You start small, developing habits, learning new skills, seeking guidance, and practicing relentlessly. Over time, what once made you insecure becomes second nature, and before you know it, people admire you for the very quality you once hated about yourself. Even emotional weaknesses can be transformed. If you are sensitive and see that as a flaw, remember that sensitivity can turn into emotional intelligence when managed properly. It can make you an incredible leader, friend, or creator because you understand feelings deeply. If you are impatient, that drive can become ambition when channeled correctly. The key is to reframe your weakness not as a curse, but as a challenge that holds hidden strength. The world does not reward perfection. It rewards perseverance, creativity, and resilience. Weakness is the soil where those traits grow. When you stop seeing your weaknesses as limitations and start seeing them as opportunities for reinvention, you unlock a power that most people never find because they are too busy hiding what makes them human. You said, expand key point 03 into 500 words without heading and any ending sentence. ChatGPT said, people often chase perfection as if it is the ultimate destination, believing that if they can eliminate every flaw, they will finally achieve success and happiness. But perfection is a myth, an illusion that keeps people paralyzed and fearful of making mistakes. The truth is, life is not about being flawless. It is about growth, progress, and the ability to adapt. Transformation is far more powerful than perfection because transformation allows you to evolve, to learn, and to overcome. A person obsessed with perfection fears failure, and that fear becomes a prison. They hesitate to take risks, to explore new opportunities, and to step outside their comfort zone because they worry about not being good enough. But the ones who embrace transformation, who accept that they are a work in progress, are the ones who keep moving forward even when things are messy. Growth is not a straight line. It is a series of peaks and valleys, a constant process of learning, unlearning, and relearning. Every mistake teaches something. Every setback builds resilience, and every challenge forces reinvention. When you choose transformation over perfection, you give yourself permission to fail without losing faith. You see mistakes not as proof of inadequacy, but as part of the journey. That mindset is what separates achievers from dreamers. Achievers understand that the road to greatness is paved with imperfection, and that every rough edge can be polished through experience and effort. Transformation also requires courage because it demands change, and change is uncomfortable. It means confronting your weaknesses instead of hiding them, admitting what you don't know instead of pretending to have it all figured out. But in that discomfort lies power. When you allow yourself to grow, you open doors that perfection would have kept locked. You start to see possibilities where others see limitations because you are not confined by the need to appear flawless. You become flexible, adaptable, and resilient qualities that are essential in a world that is constantly shifting. There is something liberating about embracing transformation. It takes away the pressure of having to get everything right the first time. It allows you to try, to experiment, to discover new strengths you never knew you had. When you stop striving for perfection, you start striving for progress, and progress compounds over time into mastery. That is how ordinary people become extraordinary, through small, consistent improvements, through lessons learned from failure, and through the determination to keep growing no matter how many times they fall. Perfection may look appealing from a distance, but it is static and lifeless because it leaves no room for improvement. Transformation is alive, dynamic, and limitless. It means that every day you wake up with an opportunity to be better than yesterday, to turn your flaws into features, your struggles into skills, and your doubts into determination. That is the true essence of strength, not being perfect, but being willing to evolve until your potential becomes reality. A diamond is one of the most valued and admired substances on earth, yet it begins as nothing more than carbon buried deep beneath the surface. It does not form in comfort, in coolness, or in light. It is created through immense heat, crushing pressure, and complete darkness. That transformation does not happen overnight. It takes years of enduring these harsh conditions to become the gem that captures the world's attention. The process is not gentle, and neither is life. Just like diamonds, we are shaped in our moments of struggle, in the times when pressure feels unbearable and the path ahead looks impossible. These moments are not signs that you are failing. They are signals that you are being prepared for something greater than you can see right now. Pressure is not pleasant. It makes you feel like you are being squeezed from every angle with no room to breathe. It makes you question why life is so hard and why you have to endure so much, but that same pressure is what builds strength. Without it, carbon remains carbon. It never becomes a diamond. The same principle applies to people. Those who avoid challenges and seek only comfort, never experience the depth of growth that adversity provides. They remain unchanged, untouched by the lessons that hardship teaches. Those who embrace the process, however painful it may be, discover a resilience within themselves they never imagined. Heat is another part of the diamond's journey, and in life, heat comes in the form of criticism, failure, and setbacks that feel like they are burning you alive. When things go wrong, when your efforts fall apart, it feels like fire consuming everything you worked for. But fire does not just destroy, it purifies. It removes what is weak, what is unnecessary, leaving behind only what is strong and enduring. Every mistake, every failure, every harsh lesson strips away something that was holding you back and makes room for strength to grow. And then there is darkness. The diamond spends most of its existence hidden, unseen, and unrecognized. In the same way, your hardest work often goes unnoticed, your sacrifices unappreciated. There are seasons when you feel invisible, wondering if your efforts even matter. But those hidden seasons are where greatness is built. They are the times when you develop character, when you sharpen your skills, when you gain the wisdom that will sustain you once the spotlight finally comes. So, when life feels like it is pressing you from all sides, when the heat is unbearable and everything around you feels dark, remember that you are in the process of becoming. Every ounce of pressure, every degree of heat, every moment of darkness is shaping you into something rare, something strong, something that will one day shine so brightly that everyone will marvel. But only you will know the cost of that brilliance. There are countless examples in life where what seems like a disadvantage at first becomes the very reason someone rises to greatness. A person who grows up shy might feel like they are trapped in their own silence, unable to compete with the loud, confident voices in the room. They might believe leadership is out of reach, because the world appears to reward those who speak the loudest. But what they fail to see is that quietness brings a gift of observation, of listening deeply, of understanding what others miss. Over time, that shy person learns to use their attentiveness as strength. They develop empathy, patience, and the ability to connect with people on a deeper level, because they are not distracted by the need to dominate conversations. That same individual can grow into a leader whose power does not come from shouting commands, but from earning respect through understanding and wisdom. What was once seen as weakness becomes the foundation for exceptional leadership. The same principle applies to failure. Society often treats failure as shameful, something to hide, but failure is one of the greatest teachers life offers. When you fail, you gain insight that no amount of theory or planning could ever provide. Every wrong turn teaches you what doesn't work, and every setback builds resilience. A person who fails repeatedly learns perseverance, and that perseverance becomes a weapon against the fear of trying again. History remembers countless innovators, creators, and leaders not for their failures, but for their ability to rise from them. Thomas Edison famously said he did not fail, but found 10,000 ways that didn't work before discovering one that did. Each failure was not the end, but a step toward success. That same mindset can turn the pain of defeat into the strength of determination. Weaknesses are not permanent labels. They are opportunities disguised as limitations. A lack of physical strength might drive someone to master strategy and technique, making them smarter and more resourceful than their competition. Someone who struggles academically might develop unmatched creativity, problem-solving, or interpersonal skills. In every weakness lies a hidden potential that only reveals itself through effort and persistence. The key is to shift perspective, to stop seeing flaws as roadblocks and start viewing them as raw material for growth. Even emotional weaknesses hold potential for transformation. Sensitivity, often mocked or dismissed, can turn into emotional intelligence, making someone a trusted friend, a compassionate leader, or a skilled negotiator. Impatience, when channeled, becomes drive and ambition. The difference between weakness and strength is often the work you put into developing it. The very quality you once hated about yourself can become the reason you stand out, the reason you succeed, the reason people admire you. What others call weakness can be the seed of your greatest gift, but only if you choose to nurture it instead of hiding it. And strength is never born in the comfort of ease. It is forged in moments that stretch you beyond what you thought you could handle. Discomfort is life's training ground, the place where your character is built, where resilience takes root, and where courage is discovered. When everything is going smoothly, when there are no obstacles in your path, you may feel safe, but you are not growing. Growth happens when you're pushed into situations that make you uncomfortable, when you're asked to do things you have never done before, and when failure feels like it is lurking around every corner. That tension, that fear, that uncertainty, it is the very thing that molds you into someone stronger than you were yesterday. Think about the strongest people you know or admire. None of them became who they are by living an easy life. Every single one of them endured something hard, something that tested them to their core. It might have been financial struggles, personal losses, countless rejections, or the weight of self-doubt. Yet, instead of breaking them, those experiences gave them the strength to rise. They learned perseverance because life left them no choice but to keep going. They learned resourcefulness because they had to find a way when no way seemed possible. Strength is not something you are born with. It is something you build, and discomfort is the gym where it happens. Every time you choose to face difficulty instead of running from it, you are training yourself for greater challenges. Discomfort forces you to dig deep, to uncover abilities and qualities you didn't even know you had. When you lift a heavy weight, your muscles tear so they can grow back stronger. The same principle applies to the mind and spirit. When life applies pressure, it creates tiny fractures in your old self, breaking away the weakness so that resilience and courage can grow. Avoiding struggle might feel safe, but safety never leads to greatness. Discomfort also teaches adaptability. When plans fall apart and the unexpected happens, you learn to adjust, to pivot, and to keep moving forward. That adaptability becomes one of your greatest strengths because life will never stop throwing curveballs. If you only thrive when everything goes according to plan, you will crumble the moment life changes. But if you have endured discomfort, you develop the ability to stay calm in chaos and to make decisions under pressure. That is real strength, the kind that cannot be shaken by circumstances. The truth is, the moments that feel like they are breaking you are the same moments shaping you. Every storm you survive toughens your spirit. Every obstacle you overcome adds to your confidence. And every failure you rise from teaches you that you can endure more than you imagine. The strength you admire in others was built in the very struggles they once prayed to escape. And the same is true for you. Strength does not grow in the safety of ease. It grows in the tension of struggle. Discomfort is where the foundation of resilience is laid, where character is carved and where courage begins to emerge. When everything around you feels predictable, when the road is smooth and straight, you may feel at peace, but you are not stretching yourself. Growth does not happen in stillness. It happens when you are pulled into situations that demand more than you think you can give, when you are faced with uncertainty that rattles your confidence. When failure seems just one step away, those uncomfortable moments are not a punishment. They are a forge, heating and shaping you into someone stronger than before. Look at anyone who embodies strength, whether in mind, body, or spirit. Behind every triumph is a story of hardship. No one becomes great by walking an easy path. Each scar, each rejection, each sleepless night adds another layer to their armor. They endured trials that forced them to adapt, to learn, to become resourceful. They didn't start out strong. They became strong because life demanded it. This truth never changes. Muscles only grow by being stretched and torn, and the human spirit works the same way. Discomfort tears away complacency, and in its place, it plants endurance. When you choose to face discomfort instead of avoiding it, something powerful happens. You begin to uncover abilities you didn't know were buried inside you. Every challenge you take on builds confidence for the next one. Each time you step into fear instead of running from it, your courage multiplies. Struggle does not weaken you, it trains you. Like iron, sharpened against iron, your challenges grind away what is soft, until only strength remains. Discomfort is also the teacher of adaptability. Plans fail, life throws curveballs. Things rarely go the way you imagine, and if your strength depends on everything going right, you will collapse when things go wrong. But when you've learned to move through discomfort, you become flexible. You pivot, you adjust, you keep going when others stop. That ability to stay calm under pressure, to make decisions when chaos is closing in, becomes one of the greatest strengths you can ever possess. The very moments that make you want to give up are the moments that are shaping the strongest parts of you. Every storm you survive builds your endurance, every obstacle you climb adds to your resolve, and every failure you rise from whispers the truth: you can handle more than you ever imagined. The people you admire for their strength didn't pray for easy days. They learned to embrace the hard ones. And the same fire that refined them is the fire that will shape you too, you said. Expand key point 08 into 500 words without heading and any ending sentence. ChatGPT said, the struggle you go through does not just test your strength, it becomes the story that defines you. Every challenge, every hardship, every failure that feels unbearable in the moment is the very thing that shapes your identity and fuels your success later on. People often look at someone who has achieved greatness and only see the glory, the victory, the applause. What they don't see are the nights of doubt, the sacrifices made in silence, the countless moments when that person thought about quitting. The story behind the success is almost always written in pain and perseverance. It is the journey through the dark seasons that makes the light shine so much brighter when it finally comes. What once felt like a breaking point often becomes the turning point. The disappointments that seemed like the end of the road were actually detours that led to something greater. In the middle of the storm, it is hard to believe there is a purpose to the chaos, but when you look back, you realize that every difficulty prepared you for the moment you are living now. Your scars become symbols of strength. They remind you that you survived, that you endured, that you grew. Without those struggles, you would not have the depth of character, the empathy, or the wisdom that sets you apart today. The truth is, struggle creates connection. People are inspired by stories of resilience because they see themselves in those stories. When you rise from something that tried to destroy you, you don't just elevate yourself. You give hope to others who are still fighting their battles. Your story becomes proof that it is possible to overcome, to turn pain into purpose, to rebuild after being broken. That is why the struggle matters. It is not just about surviving, it is about becoming the kind of person who can help others survive too. Every time you push through hardship, you add another chapter to your story that will one day inspire someone else. The most powerful lessons you will ever teach come from what you have lived, not from what you have read or heard. That is why you cannot despise your struggle. It is your teacher, your trainer, your builder. It is shaping you for something far greater than the temporary discomfort you feel now. When success finally arrives, it will not mean as much without the memories of the challenges you had to overcome to get there. The joy will be sweeter because of the pain that preceded it. The victory will matter because of the losses that almost broke you. And when you stand on that mountain, you will realize that the climb, with all its difficulties, was the very thing that made you strong enough to handle the view. The struggle becomes the story, and the story becomes the reason you inspire, the reason you lead, and the reason you never take your success for granted. There comes a time in everyone's life when the weight of the struggle feels too heavy, when the obstacles seem insurmountable, and you wonder if this is the end of the road. But what many people fail to realize in that moment is that the very thing that tried to bury them is what gives birth to their strength. Pressure, pain, and adversity have a strange way of planting seeds deep within you, seeds that only grow when life pushes you to the ground. It feels like defeat when you are in the dirt, but that soil is rich with lessons, with wisdom, with the raw materials you need to rise stronger than before. When people face their darkest seasons, they often believe that those seasons define them in a negative way. They see failure as a permanent label, heartbreak as the end of love, and setbacks as proof that they are not good enough. But every one of those moments is temporary, and more than that, every one of those moments carries a purpose. The pain that was meant to break you becomes the power that builds you. The rejection that made you doubt yourself becomes the reason you develop resilience. The loss that brought you to your knees becomes the lesson that teaches you to stand taller than ever. What was meant for your harm becomes the foundation for your victory. There is something unshakable about a person who has been through the fire and refused to quit. They walk differently, speak differently, lead differently because they know what it means to fight for every inch of progress. That strength does not come from theory or comfort. It comes from the trenches, from the sleepless nights, from the tears no one else saw. And when they finally reach their breakthrough, they appreciate it in a way that someone who had it easy never could. That gratitude becomes fuel for even greater things because they understand the value of what they earned. The beauty of this truth is that it is universal. Every great story of triumph has chapters of struggle. Every success that inspires us has roots in failure, pain, and disappointment. The difference between those who stay buried and those who bloom lies in perspective and persistence. If you believe the dirt is your grave, you will stop growing. But if you see it as the soil for your rebirth, you will push through and break the surface, stronger and more determined than before. When you finally rise from what tried to destroy you, you realize that nothing can hold you down anymore. You become unbreakable because you have already survived the worst. The weight that once crushed you becomes the weight that built your strength. And when people ask how you made it, you will tell them the truth. What was meant to bury you did not succeed. It grew you into everything you were meant to become.